life is an arcade. I wanna play every single game. These bright lights are making my heart race. Let's go.
Yo, welcome back, guys. Authentic Vibes Only Podcast, Season 2, episode technically 2, but there will be a part 2. You guys probably already watched for episode 1. We have another special guest. This season's going to be crazy with the guest. James, he's a coach, and I met him, I don't even know. I think I just saw him on Instagram. He reached out to me, and he was actually coaching one of my friends, and then we just kind of created a relationship through there. We hopped on a call and, like-minded people, and we've kept a relationship since then. He helps entrepreneurs get unstuck, and I'll let him introduce himself a little more, and then, we'll do a little interview, a couple questions, have some good info for you guys, and see if we can help you guys out with anything that you may be getting stuck with as being an entrepreneur, or maybe trying to reach your goals. So, James, who's James? Who is James? What do you do exactly? A little bit more in depth, and then how did you become James, or how are you becoming the authentic version of yourself?
I love that, bro. That's a great question. I think where my first real step into becoming myself, the authentic version of me, was honestly stepping into content creation. And it was subtle too, because when I stepped into content creation was same time I started my business, my coaching business. And I remember when I invested into the program I had to jump into to become a coach and learn how to run a business, how to work with people, how to really help them, get unstuck, show up for their goals, stuff like that, I was oh shit, I have to post online now. I have to attract people to work with me. And I was nervous as shit, because all I cared about throughout most of my life was other people's opinions, which I think a lot of us are, struggling with. So the first thing for me was saying, okay, I'm going to post every single day, because if I don't post every single day, I'm going to get out of the habit of doing it. And then I'm going to get out of the habit of showing up for myself. And so that was the real massive first step in starting the podcast and everything like that, of course, as well.
Yeah, as you may not know, but hopefully you've seen me share. I try to share everything I can, but James also has his own podcast. As you can see the sign behind him, the YOUCANTOO Podcast, and it's amazing. Go take a listen as well. But we were getting into authentic self. I think that's a hard thing. I saw you share a clip about imposter syndrome. That's kind of a thing. We're living and going through everyday life just so worried about what other people think of us and not showing up for ourselves, because we're just stuck in our own head, and we're revolving around the way other people view us and see us, and we care so much about that we literally lose ourselves. We don't even know who we are. And I think that's the thing about is just being your authentic self. It starts with just kind of starting over. Who am I? What do I like? Why should I care what someone else thinks about me? Everyone has weird quirks. Everyone likes to do weird things. Everyone, it's okay. That stuff is okay. Everyone has something different about them that they like. And that's why we're here. We're here to allow people to know it's okay to be you, for you, and just living your authentic life and come into and appreciate every little thing about yourself.
Fully, bro. Fully on that.
So we talk about you being a coach, and the one thing you've done, you focus on people getting unstuck. And what's when people come to you, what would you say that what is that what they say? When they come to you, it's I'm stuck, or is it more being stuck? They probably come to you and they're where do I go from here? Or how do I get here? Or is that really what that consists of, being stuck?
I think it's the best way I can frame it, the best way that I can word it, because it's hard to explain what I do. I mean, even coaching in general is hard to understand what's a coach unless you're literally in this space, right? When we first connected, it was you were in a position where whether it was procrastination or there was fear that pops up for every single one of us in entrepreneurship. We often get in our own way. It's not that we don't know what we need to do, but we often just find a way to not do it, or we find a way to procrastinate it, or we find a way to put it off. We find a way to have our fear stop us from showing up for the things that we need to show up for. And so I would say that a lot of people come to me when I say stuck, I feel like stuck or scattered, whether they don't know what to focus on or they know exactly what they need to focus on, but they're just not doing it. And so for a lot of us in entrepreneurship, especially, you wake up and you control what you do with your day. I mean, you have full control over your schedule, or even if you have a 9 to 5 and then you're an entrepreneurship on the side, or you're trying to build something, you still have a lot of time where you need to figure out what you need to do with your day. What are the most important tasks that you need to focus on? For a lot of us, we're focusing on things that don't have the biggest, power over the kind of life that we want to create or the results that we want to get. And so I really help people just focus on the right things so that they can achieve more in less time and with a hell of a lot less stress.
So what would you say some tips on getting unstuck? Like there's I don't want to, you got to coach, you got to take in clients, but like you had a few simple tips for some people to their first conversation with you. What would you say?
Yeah, I think the first part is getting clarity. Like you were speaking about earlier, is a lot of people have imposter syndrome. They're worried about what other people are thinking of them. And I think there's two sides to that coin, because I think we're worried about what we think other people are thinking about us. A lot of the time they're not thinking about us at all. And
exactly.
And we just have this belief that people are thinking about us, and so it stops us. But I think the reason that it holds us back is because we're so worried about what we think other people are thinking about us that we don't even think about what we want for ourselves. And so the first step with every single one of my clients is getting clear, like getting clarity on where do you want to go. Like if you don't know where you're going, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter any tip that I give you. It doesn't matter any kind of insight or whatever we jump through. If you're not clear on where you want to go, then we're not going to be working together. So first step is like, where do you want to go? Why do you want to go there? And then what are the steps we need to take to get there? But the first step is like getting genuinely crystal clear on like, if you could wake up and it would be the perfect week of your life, what does that look like? And a lot of us don't know what that looks like.
What's yours look like?
Mine?
Yeah.
Mine's working with clients. Mine's having a podcast at the end of the day. Mine's reading at the end of the day, going on as many walks as I can, traveling as much as I can. It's being able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, no matter how long.
Just creating the life you want to live. Like that's a lot of what we preach here too, authentic vibes. Like when you become your authentic self and you find basically a lot of the stuff you talk about leads into kind of like getting clear is like finding your purpose as a person. Like everyone has a purpose. What's your purpose and why? Like you said, you got to find out what yours is. And it's not always easy, but everyone has one. And I'm sure you love something, there's something in your life that you want to do. And like you said, you just got to get clear about it, not worry that other people are judging you or thinking about it, because that is the biggest issue here. And it's that we are stuck in our head. People are just so stuck in their head about themselves that they're not thinking about you, even though you think you're thinking about you. It's like a weird circle. Like we all think someone else is thinking about us and we're in our heads, but they're literally in their own head just worried about others thinking about them, but nobody's thinking about anybody. And you're literally neglecting yourself because you're not even thinking about yourself either. So it's a weird it's a weird circle that we're living in there. So that's the thing with finding your authentic self and finding your purpose. It's like a similar thing, because once you become more authentic and become more you, it's a lot easier to get clear and find that purpose in what you want to do in life and creating a life you want to live and being able to handle your time, like you said, and wake up and I get to do this today. I want it. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. It's just creating something that's different than, being told, I guess, what to do by someone else,
Yeah. Or like unconsciously living by what we think that we want or what society tells us that we're supposed to want. Like, I think especially like in, like you said, like what does my best week look like? And I'm the more I go through it, the more that I realize it's not what I used to think it was. Like if I want to go golfing on a Tuesday at 11 a.m., I'm going to go golfing at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, right? Like it's just deciding it's a continual process of figuring that out. Like there's never a set in stone kind of thing, but it definitely is just being in a constant state of questioning what you want, I think is really, really, really important for sure.
I think that's a good way to look at it too. Like you said, if it's Tuesday morning and I want to golf, I'm going to go fucking golf. It's not all about like, I think people also get lost in that. like
The grind.
yeah, the grind, not being successful, like taking time off. Like when you're in the mix, like the midst of doing and becoming your authentic self and trying to find your purpose, you
Yep.
do lose sight of like, okay, why am I doing this in general? Am I doing this just for the money,
Yeah.
which a lot of people get lost in, or am I doing this to create a life I want to live? And creating a life I want to live doesn't just have to do with money. It has to do with freeing up your time. Like you said, getting in control of your time, your mind. And if I want to take today and not work on my brand or work on whatever I'm working on, and I want to golf or I want to see my friends, I'm gonna go do that.
Exactly.
It's my time, it's my life, and I'm creating that life. You know, you get to make every decision, and if you take time off for one day, you took time off. You know, you still did what you wanted to do. That's the thing, is you're doing what you want to do. You're not beating yourself up about any decision you make in life anymore. You're comfortable, you're happy, and you just love that. And I mean, like, not like comfortable. Like, I don't want to say like comfortable, like you're, you know, like you're not making
You're in your
progress.
comfort
Like
zone. Yeah.
you're comfortable in the choices you make is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Definitely something that a lot of clients I work with is like the guilt or the shame that we place on ourselves when we're not working. Like I used to have this belief, like if I didn't work until 7 p.m., like it wasn't a successful day. Like I had to work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Like I had, of course, time within that where, you know, I'd eat and go on a walk, whatever. But like if I didn't work until I was going to sleep, it was a failure of a day. And like what I realized more and more, the more that I work with people, it's like, dude, like you do not really need to work more than 4 hours a day, realistically, if you're focusing on the right things. But a lot of us just feel we need to always be in movement or we're falling behind, which really isn't true. It only really keeps us in that cyclical pattern. And that's why I say I help people get unstuck, because a lot of the time we're in a pattern of doing the same things and expecting a new result. And so we were curious, we're giving it our all, we're working all these hours, but we're not getting the results that we want. And it's likely because something needs to shift. And a lot of the time, the best thing that we can do is take a step back, but it's also the scariest thing for a lot of high achievers is to do that.
Yeah, because like you said, they're so used to the go go go, and
Exactly.
they don't like to be like, oh, like they're so used to the go go go, they don't sit back and reevaluate. Holy shit, like I'm
Is
go
this really
go
what I want?
going,
Yeah,
but is this actually working? You know, like you
exactly.
said, they are still, whether they're working or not, they're still stuck in a position where they need help because they're stuck in a mode that like we said, it's not always great to just go go go. Like you're gonna get burnt out. There's other things in life that are important. You know, there's not just
Absolutely.
like, it's not just work. It's not
Yeah.
just the
And
grind. There's so much to it.
yeah. Yeah. And it's hard to see that sometimes. So that's why I found coaching is so powerful for me, is getting an external perspective on that. I mean, sometimes I think it was, I don't remember who it was exactly, but it's like when you're so close to your problem, it's like this to you. And when you get a coach or you get a mentor, or you get someone, even if it's like a accountability partner, just a friend, to like pull your hand back and like see like, oh, that's the problem. Like way too often we're too close to our problems to solve it. And it really is true.
Oh, I like that. So it's literally just like this, right?
Exactly.
And then it's like a kind of like an out of body thing for me.
Yes.
Like you're like, you're not seeing it, but then you can finally get someone to like pull you out of your own mind and your own body. Like,
Exactly.
step out, look at what
Yeah.
you're doing here. Like this is what we're trying to help you with right here.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I like that. I also like that. Yeah, I agree. Like I've said you a million times, like I just didn't think I needed a coach, but
Yeah.
I think everyone, it's not even like, I think everyone needs a mentor or a coach. Even if you like don't pay for it, you can just find like-minded individuals or whatever. And I've also like listened and read Devoria guests I had talked about, even if it's YouTube, you know, like
Hell
YouTube is
yeah.
not just, you know, entertainment. There's a lot of great things on there that you can find a mentor on there, or if it's a book. And then however you find it, you got to find it. You need something else besides yourself to try to help you keep yourself accountable and look at things in a different perspective and not get in your own way.
Absolutely. Full support in
Um,
that.
so we talked a lot or a little bit about comparison. I saw another clip today from Gary V. I watch a lot of Gary V. I like Gary V.
Love Gary V.
Um, someone I'd love to have on the podcast. We
Me
talked
too.
about getting guests on. That is a
Yeah.
huge guest. Like I'd love to have on. So that's definitely like a goal for me. But he talked about comparison. We talked about like the same thing, getting stuck in your head. And do you think that because people are afraid, like, okay, so how do I put this? People stay stuck and are afraid to go after what they achieve. Besides being judged, we're in a world where it's so social, right? And everyone
Yep.
sees what everyone's doing supposedly, but a lot of that stuff isn't even real, it's social media. People are putting on like a pretty face for social media. So but do you think that because of that, people are comparing themselves so much that plays like a huge factor in people being stuck? Is like they see what other people are doing and they're jealous and they're envious of these other people, that they're just so worried about what others are doing that they get stuck themselves.
Absolutely. We can get so caught in thinking that we forget we have to do things. Like we get so caught in thinking that we should be somewhere else, or we envy people that are in a different position. Like I think something I see a lot, and you probably see this too, is like we'll see someone do something a certain way, and then we'll try to do it ourselves, and it won't work out, and we'll feel like, man, like doesn't work out for me. It's obviously not meant to be because this person did it, but it didn't work for me. We have to realize, dude, like like you said, we're seeing a lot of people's highlight reels, and a lot of the things that we think we're seeing, we don't recognize it's not the whole story. It's like it's one page out of a whole book, dude, and you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes with everything, man. And it is really crazy, especially when, like, for me, even like surrounding myself, some people, the biggest people I've had on the podcast, not even close to what they seem like. As soon as we hop off the podcast, they're a different person. And it's like you really don't realize how much comparison can really keep you trapped. It really, really is big that you have to recognize that you never understand the whole story. You don't know. Like you have to you don't know. Like it's just a continuous mantra you have to tell yourself you don't know.
Yeah, I like that. You said that it's like a highlight reel. Like I said, they're like putting on that pretty face. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of social media is this is like, because I actually have that. I feel like I have an issue with that. Like I be seeing other people, other brands, all this and that. I'm not
Yeah.
jealous or envious, but I see it and it's like, damn, man, like how
Yeah.
do I get there? How are
Yep.
they doing this? And I'm thinking like you said, they're just there. It's just like, oh, they got it. But
Yeah.
like then I evaluate it too. Is like, I'm not getting there, but like what did they go through to get there?
Yeah.
They're here, but I already know how hard and what obstacles and everything that's happened to me behind the scenes. They're there. It's okay that I'm not there yet. Like I've come to a good point where, like I don't get jealous and envious. It's just like a reevaluation stage. Like don't compare yourself to them because they probably went through the same exact stuff at the beginning of their process that you're going through, like behind the scenes and getting told no, or not getting what you want, or not getting the sales you want, or not getting the viewership you want. And what are they doing behind the scenes to work harder? What can you do to work harder? Just think about it that way. It's like they're at the top of their process, but they went through all the shit too, just like you're gonna. And at some point, as long as you do continue to do the things right and the things you like, that you'll get there. You'll get there. And
Yeah.
that's in that same clip. He said that jealousy and envy is like poison, and the only way you look at the world, like when you're comparing yourself, if you're comparing it in that kind of way, in like a jealous and envy way, you only look at that way because you think the world is scarce and that you're not worthy of it. But
Yeah.
and that's what I'm getting at, is like you have to come to a point where it's like, just because they're doing it doesn't mean I can't do it too. It's not jealousy and envy. It's like more of like you should use it as inspiration, because like I said, you don't know what they already went through. So take what you've gone through and use it as inspiration. All right, they're here. I can do it too. And he also said, like, just because you're seventh best in that area of life, that's okay. Like, are you still successful in that area of life? Are you still monetizing or bringing in the money you want? Or even if you're not like doing that, are you still living the life you want to live? Like we talked about, because it's not all about money. So like, are you, even though you're seventh place, that's still an amazing place to be. You were 1,000th last year. Now you're seventh. You don't always have to be in first place. You're still making progress. You're still successful. You're still doing all these things. So if you're not stuck in a mindset of like, jealousy and envy, then you're not going to be, or if you're not stuck in a mindset of the world is scarce, you're not going to look at it as jealousy and envy. You're going to look at it in a different way.
You'll see it as like inspiring instead of envious. Like you see stuff. It's a big part of my brand, right? It's like the you can too is because, bro, like if you're seeing someone else do it, you don't have to envy that person. You don't have to compare yourself against that person. Like it's proof, dude. Like they're giving you proof. Like if someone else can do it, what is this belief that you can't? Like where's that coming from? Is it childhood, like just conditioned beliefs? Is it something that someone told you? Like, dude, this world is so expansive. Like there's so much fucking possible. But our minds are so small that we can only accomplish what we can conceive, bro. And like if we don't believe that it's possible, we're not going to take the action to do it. But I wanted to touch on something you talked about when it comes to comparison. I think is really important. I was talking with a client about this other day. And I think this mindset's really good and it's really served a lot of people well. Is focus on your intention, not your expectation. Like when you focus on like the actions that you have to take and you're just doing those, like it is literally like it's just going to happen if you just don't stop. It's inevitable, right? And anything that you go towards, if you just don't stop, you can't fail, right? Or every quote unquote failure is just a building block to exactly.
First attempt in learning, fail. Accurate.
Yeah. I see failure as feedback. It's just like just giving me something I can learn from because I'm starting to seek what I can learn from it. So if you focus on your intention and you just focus on what you're supposed to do every single day and you just focus on the building blocks, it's inevitable that you get there. But if you focus on the expectation, you're going to be disappointed every single day because your expectation, that's where unhappiness comes from, is the gap between the expectation and what reality actually looks like. It's like the ideal that we're never going to hit because we're always going to shoot for more. So if you focus on your intention, it's inevitable that you're going to get to where you want to go and you're going to have the motivation to show up every single day. You focus on your expectation, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to be fulfilled. You're never going to be inspired. You're never going to feel like you deserve it because you're always going to be comparing. And like, bro, it just doesn't serve you. A really good book I recommend to everyone is called The Gap and the Gain by Benjamin Hardy. I'm actually having him on the pod in a couple months. And it's like a lot of us compare ourselves off of where we want to be. It's the gap. So it's like we're right here and this is where we want to be. And that's where we compare ourselves, is the gap from where we are to where we want to be. And that's obviously not inspiring. It's not going to make us want to go anymore because we're going to always feel like we're behind. What we need to start comparing ourselves against is the gain. So like, where was I? Like you said earlier, like you were in 1,000th place. Now you're in 7th. Start comparing yourself off of that. Because when you do that, then you're inspired to show up tomorrow. You're inspired to show up the next day. You're motivated. You feel like, man, like maybe I'm not where I want to be, but I'm hell of a lot further along than where I once was. We just don't do that enough.
No, I very much agree. I think that, like I said, this is why I like the podcast and like what we preach, because like I come on here and be like fully transparent. Like I want people to know, like, yeah, these are the struggles you go through. This is what can happen. This is how I feel. This is, even I struggle with these things. It's okay. You know, you get past it, but I've done the same thing, you know. It took me a long time. I think that was a thing in the first year. I even talked about on the last podcast, is like focusing way too much on the end goal rather than where I'm at.
Yeah.
And when you get more like you said, focused on the intention and I got to do this. This is what I need to do. And just being more present and where you're at, it's just like you said, you feel a lot better. You're not just so unhappy with like, damn, I'm not here yet. It's more like you said, let's reevaluate. Like last year I was here. Now look at it. Maybe I'm not where I want to be. Maybe I'm not. But look at how much fucking progress I've made from where I started to where I'm at now. Look at everything you've done, you know, like, look, last year I did this and it didn't end where I wanted to be, but now look at what I learned. Like you said, I didn't fail. Now it's just a learning process. Now I learned, and this year I'm here and I'm 10 steps ahead. I'm not at the top, but I'm 10 steps from where I was last year. And I also like how you said, like with your podcast, the You Can Too, like we're on here, same thing. Like I said, I'm on here because I want people to look at the world and view the world in a different way. You know, like that's the top of my goal list. It says change the world and how people view it, and then change people's lives, mindset, and help them evolve. And that's just like one of the things on here that I love to do. I come on here and I want to show people that it's possible. I'm not here to turn you away. I want to bring people on that are like-minded, that believe that too. I want guests to come on here and talk about stuff like that we're not comparing here. We're technically, even if you're higher up, we're on the same playing field. We're on the same level. Like, we're here to help each other. We're not comparing. We're not, I'm better, I'm not this or that. Like, we want to be able to come here and be like, we did it.
Collaboration.
You can fucking do it, dude. Like,
Yeah.
even if I'm still not, like I said, even if I'm not at the top and you're seeing that maybe I'm not the top yet, but I want you to see that the fact that I'm taking those steps and you can take those steps too. You can do whatever you want to do, no matter what it is. Like you just, like you said, work on the intentions, find your purpose, start becoming your authentic self. And once you start becoming your authentic self, that's when the purpose and the clarity starts coming in your head. Okay, here's my purpose. Here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to create for my life. These are the things that I like to do. These are the things that I enjoy. Who am I? Like I said, find out who you are. And that's what being authentic is just finding out who you are. And then like I said, then you can start creating the life after. Hopefully, if you see this or watch us, like, you understand that like everyone can fucking do this. It doesn't really matter if you started where you started, or even if maybe you started off higher up, you can still go higher. Like, you know what I mean? There's always a process and a progress that you can make.
Yeah. I think it's important to recognize that like you're never going to be where you want to be because there's always going to be like an ideal of where we want to be. Like there's always going to be something further. That's how our brains work. We're always looking for what's next. So like you're never going to actually be where you want to be unless you give yourself permission to be where you are.
Wow. Okay. Like that's like a good way, like I said, be about being the present, like, if you're not happy with you are, how do you expect to ever be happy? Like I don't know. Like, I mean, we've already talked to like I said, I don't want to like go over what I said, but like, yeah, if you just keep thinking like, damn, I could do this, then you're literally going to continuously stay unhappy. Even if you are trying to build something, if you're just looking towards the future and not living enough in the present and realizing you are doing it, you literally are doing it. Like you said, that's so hard, is like, because we're always so looking forward to where we can be, you're not realizing you're already doing it. You're literally already doing it. The As soon as you took that first step in doing what you want to do for yourself, you're already doing it. You're literally ahead of 99.9% of the people already by taking that first step, and, as we would say, getting unstuck.
Yeah. I think this will be helpful for your audience. Something that I've really taken into account recently is like living life like each 24 hours is a day in itself. Because like people like us, people that are probably listening to this, we're overachievers, we're high achievers. We want to grind, we want to go. We always like we listen to Gary Vee, right? So
Yeah.
20 to 30, you should be in your grind. But like at least how I believe it is like the purpose of life is to enjoy the passage of time. And so a lot of getting unstuck is realizing what kind of life do you want to live and start living that life out now. Because why would you put your life off if you have the freedom? Just because we can work more doesn't mean we should. Just because we can grind more doesn't mean we should. And I know that the social media glamorizes it, and it's just like the comparison, of course, is like you see someone where you want to be and you think I have to work harder every single day to get to that point. And of course there's hard work that's involved, but like, dude, tomorrow isn't promised. So like, why not give your all you can today and then actually be here today so that you can enjoy tomorrow as well. But you have to be here too. Because we're thinking about tomorrow before today even happens. And it's just a cyclical pattern that we have to break for sure.
No, exactly. Because I was like, Sundays are my like day off. Like, I don't really do anything. Like, I try to tone down, take my like relaxation, no work. And I was all day I was thinking about our podcast today, and I have another business meeting later today, and I'm not taking my day off. I'm not living in the present. I'm not really even enjoying my day off because I'm just too busy thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow and then what's going to happen next.
You mentally can't prepare.
Like you said, I that's why we're here. I like to be here and be transparent and like take you guys step by step and show you that, I struggle with these things too, but we're trying to help you, and I'm trying to help you get through those things. And these are ways that we can help you. But like you said, being present in comparison, we talked a lot about being present in comparison, and just like comparison is like the thief of joy, like you keep comparing, you're never going to be happy. And if you don't live in the present, like you said, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. So why would you not be present and enjoy what you're doing today, whether it's work or it's not work, or like you said, you want to go golfing. And I also like how you said, like, because I've talked about this on a past episode about it's not all about the grind, like, yeah, we're overachievers, right? Like people like us, we listen to Gary Vee, we think grind, 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 and you'll get burnt out doing that shit. That's why we also earlier talked about just creating a life you want to live, because it's not always about the grind. It's about like being your authentic self, and being you is like we already said, it's yes, working towards your purpose and working towards your goals. But if that day you're feeling, I want to golf, or I want to go have a drink with my friend, or I want to have dinner with someone, or this or
Mhm.
that, go do it and live in the present, and don't sit in your mind and beat yourself up that you're not working. Like you can still enjoy and you can make progress. Like honestly, you taking that time off might have given you the progress you needed to to make, like you finally stepping out of the grind, 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 and taking, oh, I'm gonna go on a dinner date tonight. All right, taking that and doing that might have just immediately just sparked something else in you that could have jolted you to another level. I think, like you said too, people get stuck in that and doing the grind that they're still stuck, like, because you can be trying to make strides and, like you said, working 7 hours a day every day, but you might still be stuck. So doing other things and just doing what you like to do is important.
Yeah. I think we're projecting an ideal, and so we're missing out on what we're actually experiencing. Like we project an idea of where we want to be, thinking that it's going to be so much better than where we actually are, but we neglect to recognize that like everything we're looking for is exactly where we are, but we're missing out on it because we're projecting this ideal of where we think we want to be. And so as soon as you recognize that everything you're looking for is exactly where you are, it's in the present moment, it's right in front of you, you'll start to see it. But we're not looking for that. We're looking for the ideal that we think that we want. And so we just get caught in that cyclical pattern. And a book that I recommend to everyone is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Like, bro, we get so caught in like states of being. And this is why I say like getting unstuck is like we get caught in states of being, of doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts, taking the same actions. And so we stay in a cyclical pattern of whether it's, the same actions that we're taking, the same results that we're getting, the same feelings that we're experiencing. It's like nothing's going to change until something changes, dude. And a lot of the time we need to pattern interrupt. Like we need to do something different to get something different. But a lot of the time we love those patterns of doing the same thing, even if it isn't in our best interest. And so we need to, that's why I say, like you said earlier, like everyone should get a mentor or a coach or something like that. I know for me and for a lot of us, change happens when the pain of staying the same becomes more painful than making a change, right? And for a lot of us, we wait until it gets to that point, until the point where like we can't wait anymore. Change has to happen. The reason that I find so much power in investing into yourself is because you're forcing yourself to show up. Like if you invest in yourself, you're probably going to show up because you just put money down and you're like, okay, now this has to happen. For me, when I was terrified of everyone's opinions growing up in school, and I thought, man, how am I going to start a life coaching business at 17 years old? This makes no fucking sense, right? Like everyone, all the opinions in the world were faced right at me. And so the thing was like, dude, like investing into myself, it made me show up. It was like, well, I can't waste this investment. I can't waste what I just put, like a massive pivot in my life. I was almost becoming a real estate agent. And I was like, man, I just like literally for months, all I did was work with the team in real estate. And I was like, as soon as I turn 18, I'm taking the test and I'm going all in. And I completely dropped it within a day. And it's like, bro, we have to get to a point where things really either get really, really bad or really, really good. And then we really make a change. But it really doesn't have to get to that point. And that's why I find it so powerful, is we need to break the pattern before it gets too bad. You know what I mean?
I like that a lot, because I've always agreed, like you said, when it comes to a lot of the times when it comes to any situation, I would say I see it a lot in relationships, but just
Yeah.
like even just bettering yourself, like you said, shit, like you finally just get sick of your own shit. It's like
Yeah.
finally, like you're so tired of it that you have to change, or you're literally like, I don't know, like I don't know. I mean, like I don't know, because it's like you literally just like don't want to be here, kind of, I guess. Like it's not like
Yeah.
I don't want to get like bad like that and like
course.
Talk about, I like to talk about stuff like that, but that's for real. Like some people get to the mindsets where like it gets so painful and so hard that they don't want to be alive, stuff like that. Like it really is. You get to a point where it's fucking like, dude, I'm so sick of my fucking self. Like something's gotta change. And like you said, it really only takes that one thing to break that. It is a pattern thing. We get stuck in like the rat race. Like as people, it's just like how people are in their minds and their how the brain works. Like you get stuck in a cycle and you love that cycle. And then it's kind of like a comfort zone thing too. It's like, oh, I do this every day. Let's do this every day. The brain, the dopamine effect or anything, the brain is like, okay, that does this for my body or that does this and this makes me feel this way. And we'll keep doing it. So you have to break out of that. You have to do, even if it's one little thing, maybe you fucking wake up and cold shower. You wake up, brush your teeth at a different time. I don't know. Brush your teeth. I've heard there's some, like a thing with your brain. Like if you wake up and brush your teeth with a different hand, that it breaks like a cycle and does something for you mentally. It's just it can be a little thing, but like if you change like something in your daily routine, it allows you to break out of that cycle, because then your mind's like, what the hell? Well, that was different. Well, that was weird, but like I think that felt good, like I like that. Like that's a different thing. Like how the hell does that work? But I liked it. Like, let's try that again. So that like it's unfortunate, but personally, that's really where I got. And like you said, it doesn't have to, like it does, but like as your coach, like you said, you'd like it to
make it happen before. Yeah, of course.
But for people that usually do, if they do it on their own, that is where it gets. So you get to a point where you really you're sick of your own shit.
You have no other option.
Yeah, you really have no other option because I really don't. Yeah, I know the feeling. It's hard to like I know how to explain. It's hard to explain the feeling, but I know the feeling because that's really where I was at as a person and why I started the brand and why I left my last relationship and everything. There's a lot going on, and I just was like, I'm fucking sick of it, and I look myself in the mirror, and I really feel like I'm like kind of looking at just the figure of myself. Like I don't know who I am. I'm kind of looking at a ghost here. I like
you disassociate almost.
Like a what?
You disassociate.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
It's like I'm just kind of there and I'm looking at myself in the mirror like, what is this? What is life? Like, what is real? Am I even real at this point? I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know none of this. And it's unfortunate, but I'm not glad, but I'm glad I got there and I'm glad I finally broke out of it and just started taking some different steps.
Yeah. Been in that position too. I think our pain turns into purpose if we use it right. And I think that's why we're both here right now, is like we've been through everything that we're speaking about right now, and we're all still going through it. Like we talked about it before this, like everyone's still figuring it out. Like no one has everything figured out, even though it looks like that's true. We're all just figuring it out. But I think the continual talking about this is how we bring more awareness to it, and people can actually break out of that. Because it's not that we need to know different, like we don't need to know this stuff. We already know it. We just need to be reminded of it. We need to be reminded of it every single day, so that once finally we get to a point where, okay, something needs to change.
Exactly. I can agree, or I do agree a lot. It's with the mentor and the coach thing, like you said, it's ultimately someone holding you accountable. And but you guys got to realize, like I believe in James and everything he does as a coach, and I believe in having a mentor and everything. Yeah. But you are, like he said, the reason most people follow through with that is because it's an investment in themselves. They're paying. Yeah. It's not always exactly because James is the coach, they need him there, but they got to realize too that they're doing it themselves. Like, I'm only going to do this because I'm going to do it. And he's there and he's doing an amazing job and he's telling me and he's reminding me. So then I got to be like, okay, I'm finally going to, do something for myself. And then James is there to help you out, any mentor or coach. They're there. They're going to do their best job to help you, but they can only do so much, man. That you're making that investment in yourself, and you have to trust yourself as well, that when you sign up for coaching or anything, or even if you don't sign up, if you find a mentor, that they can only do so much. Like, be good for them and help them out by helping yourself. Exactly.
I always say I don't hold people's hands. Like, a lot of people think like coaching's like hand holding, like I'm gonna hold your hand. I'm gonna make sure every step of the way, like I'm here every step of the way. You have a question, I'm your man. Like you ask. but I'm not gonna hold your hand. I'm gonna be your guide. I'm gonna let you figure out your own answers. I'm gonna let you figure out your own problems because you have all the answers. I'm just gonna help you see them. I think that's for a lot of us. We just need, again, that external perspective. Bring it back. Help us realize that we all have that. We all have the answers. We all know what we need to do. Sometimes we just need someone else to bring it out of us, though.
Oh no, I love it. I love it, dude. I think it's kind of last point here. Don't want to stay on here with you too long.
This is powerful, bro.
Oh, it is. I mean, that's why I love this shit, dude. I love this shit because like this is getting off what I was saying, but like I love this shit because like I get on here with guests and it helps me. It's like I think it makes me start thinking differently too because everyone has a different perspective. Everyone has a different point of view. We might view like a similar topic, but we view it in a different way as well that can help each other. Like it's so cool. And I've said this before, it's crazy, but to me, like, it's not like, I'm not like, oh yeah, y'all are my therapist, but when I'm on here, like, it feels like a therapy session to me,
Yeah.
like I feel good. I feel like I'm talking to everyone and I can just talk and I can be free. I can be myself. I can get on here with no judgment, like, that's still, like I said, that's things I struggle with. Even my brand, I preach being authentic and being you, be you for you, and be comfortable in that. But there's still things I struggle with that, and like people's judgment and stuff like that. Even though we've talked a lot about that today, I talk about it because I'm there too. Like I said, but yeah, it's powerful getting on here and just being able to just be free,
Absolutely.
And last thing what I want to touch on is about you saying like the present, get back to being the present stuff. We're exactly where we need to be, like you said. Whatever you believe in, God, higher power, universe, they're placing you where you need to be. So you're gonna take those steps. They're gonna put you in a position to take those steps. You just gotta do it. You like James said, the answers. You know in your head that this is what you should do or this is what you shouldn't do, and the universe is putting that there for you and guiding you in every which way they possibly can. But it's the same thing. I feel like it's like a hidden coach, like they're there and they're guiding you, but they're not holding your hand. Like James said, I love that. I love that about him. And as he said that as a coach, like he's not going to hold your hand. He's not going to fucking hold your hand. He's just helping you. And that's the same thing. I feel like when James said like being present and it's set up for you. That's how I feel with the universe. Like they're not going to hold your hand, but they're putting you in positions to be able to be successful and be able to live the life you want to live in and be authentic and find your purpose. So, along with coaching and stuff, everything, this is a different topic, but like the universe and manifestation, all that shit's real, they're putting you in a position to be successful and do the things you want to do. So, that's where I leave off with that.
Bro, I believe in it. I want to say something real quick because I think it's powerful. I think manifestation's the act of giving the universe things to react to. I believe.
I saw that. Didn't your guest say that on your clip?
Case Kenny said that. Yeah.
Say that one more time.
The manifestation is giving the universe things to react to. And that's really at the end. And the universe is other people. It's your boss. It's it's content. It's just getting you more out into the world, speaking to more people, doing more things, trying new things, taking more action. It's just putting yourself out there. I think for a lot of us, like you said, it's like I think like intuition is like the universe giving you something. It's like it's kind of that pushing feeling you towards something. Yeah, like I said, when I almost became a real estate agent, and I was, dude, for literally months, all I didn't even have a desk at the time. I was laying on my bed. And I went through the entire online course to become a real estate agent. And a couple weeks before I turned 18, so I could actually start becoming a real estate agent, I was already working with a team, bro. I was prepped. I had this intuitive feeling that I was supposed to help people. I always felt like that growing up. I just didn't know what that looked like. And then when I had the opportunity to invest into a coaching program, I was like, I think this is it. I think this is the thing that's speaking to me. And so I made an investment more than I had in my bank account, and I did it. And I was like, fuck it. Let's figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. And it was the best decision I ever made because it went down a path that I never knew was possible. And now I wake up every day excited. And it's like a lot of people, they have it. They just have to trust that when it's speaking to you, even though it's terrifying.
Oh, they have it. Like everyone has it. The universe is there. Same thing. Like when I decided to do this, I always had a feeling, like of I can be better. I know, like, I just feel like you know, like there's always that, like you said, that intuitive feeling in my life
Yeah.
that I was meant for something, you know, meant for better, meant for higher. No matter for a long time, I never knew what that was. For years, I thought, you know, maybe as an NFL player, you know, like I was really, you know, I played
Yeah.
college ball, all that shit, you know, that's what I thought, you know, and then the universe put me in a position where I was like, okay, this ain't it. Like ball's not it. And so we made some other decisions, and then this came. And then, like you said, it was like I sat on it for a while. It was actually weird. One of my ex teammates that transferred before I did was the one that reached out to me and was like, yo, you should start a podcast. I think you'd be good at it. And I was
Yeah.
like, is that it, bro? I was like, that sounds really amazing. And it was something that I never ever thought about. It was just like, I never once in my life was like, yo, I'm going to start a podcast.
Me either. Me either.
And so he's like, yo, start a podcast. You should start a podcast. I think you'd be good at it. I'll help you set it up and then you can run it. And I was like, I wanted you to be a part of it, you know, but unfortunately we bought out, but we still have a friendship. But anyways, he brought that up to me and I was like, dude, I'd love to. That actually sounds fucking amazing. I'm just like, I was like, the timing's not right now. And I feel like in life, timing's never right for shit like that. But I let school go by, and the more I thought about it is like, the more everything started making sense, you know, like I don't want just a podcast. I want a brand. And what else can I bring to this that I enjoy doing and I love doing? So then the design aspect came into it. I'm designing. Why am I in school designing? You know, like why am I doing that? Why did I choose to do that? Why did that feel right? So then that felt right, and I continue to do that. And then I'm like, I've always been into sneakers. Why have I always been into sneakers? You know, and then you start doing all this shit, and now I launch a brand instead of just a podcast, and it's a clothing brand on top of a podcast, in which I've always loved giving people, you know, like help. I love to talk and just provide for people. I'm very I'm a healer, bro. What's that? There's another word for it, but you know, that's just how I am. So like then you start thinking back, and it's like, okay, I started this brand, and back then when I decided to not play football anymore after, like, you know, being a 3-year starter in college and shit, was just like, all right, no, I'm going to change directions here. Why'd I do that? And then you get to a point where it's, like you said, a reevaluation, where it's like, oh, I reevaluated. I've always liked sneakers. Now I own a fashion brand, you know, like now I own my own clothing brand, and why have I always been into sneakers? You know, it's weird. It just starts lining up when you evaluate, like, holy shit, I've always enjoyed like clothing and sneakers and shit like that. And now I own my own clothing brand. And I went to school to design, and then I learned how to make all the designs I can for my own clothing brand. And now I'm on a platform where I'm able to help people and talk as well. Like, it's just crazy how the universe does, like you said, line shit up like that for you. It's there for everybody. Everyone has that. And it really is for real hard. Like I said, I always felt it, and everyone can feel it. There's always that beginning part where everyone feels it, that intuitive feeling, that gut feeling, that's the universe telling you, but you may not know at first. And how you get to knowing and getting more clarity that we talked about and all that is the first step for real, is like just being your authentic self. It really is like, who am I? What do I like to do? And then once you start getting more clear on that, like you can start following in the intuition and the universe and everything. I feel like just becomes even more clear for you. You're finally like, damn, this is what I should be doing. This is what I like to do. Let's follow this journey. And then, you know, like I said, then once you start doing what you're doing, for me is the brand, more beautiful things come from that, because you're doing the right things and you're taking the right steps and shit like that. So the universe is putting more into it because you're putting yourself out there, like James said, by doing this brand and taking those steps, and me putting myself out there. I've ran into so much unbelievable people in situations and opportunities just because I'm putting myself out there. So it's giving me that opportunity. So say like I go to a bar, and by talking to a random stranger that day, maybe I just met the fucking mentor of my life, you know? Maybe I just met an investor. And that's the universe. That's literally the universe confirming, I'm giving you this because you decided to do that. You did that, and now I'm gonna reward you for doing that.
Yeah, you're giving the universe things to react to, bro. The dots always connect backwards. Like, you always notice it after the fact.
Exactly.
But they do. Yeah, bro. It's powerful. It's so powerful. And your journey's amazing. You're doing big things, bro. And I know it's only the beginning for you, and it excites the shit out of me, bro. So I'm really proud of you, bro, for real.
I appreciate you, man. For real. That's fucking kind words. It's crazy to think, this is like another comparison thing, like it's crazy to think like you're so much younger than me, bro. But like, I really like, I look up to you. Like it's inspiring to see people and make these relationships, but it's inspiring to me to see like people like you and just Devori and all these other people I've had on the podcast, shit like that. It's really come like you said, full circle to me. I turned it from comparison into like inspiration. Like I love it and I enjoy every aspect of it. I don't care. I would have used to been pissed. Like, can't believe this fucking kid's younger than me doing this. You know what I mean? But now it's just like, I fucking love it. It's so inspiring. And it's just more of like, I'm so happy I made this relationship and this connection. Yeah, I don't know. Like I for real getting a little emotional. I'm an emotional person, but like, that's how I feel about this shit. Like it's inspiring to me. It's crazy to me that you are so young and the things you've accomplished. And I appreciate you being on here and I appreciate you taking the time and I've appreciated the relationship we've been able to make. I know it's crazy. We don't talk every day, but that's okay. Like anytime we connect or hop on, it's like you don't miss a beat. That's a cool thing too. We can just talk on and hop into any sort of conversation and it turns into something great.
Yeah, immediately. It's when you surround yourself with the right people, bro. Like it's so cool because I know at least where I'm from, there's no one doing what I'm doing, right? Like there's no one even in entrepreneurship. I don't know an entrepreneur where I live to begin with. So, bro, like yeah, if people are listening still, like that's one big thing. Definitely surround yourself with like-minded people or people that have the same kind of mindset, is that ambition to always think bigger. Like you always knew you were meant for something more. There's so many other people out there that feel the same way.
Yeah, I agree. That's last point here, guys. That's why we're here. Like we said, we want to show you guys that it's possible and also show you that not everything's beautiful. Like there's a lot that goes into it. Just take those strides and start getting clear on who you want to be and who you are. And then the rest will come. You just keep continually making those strides.
1,000%.
But yeah, I can agree. I'm glad that we make this relationship because Riley and them are some people that I have come in tune with.
My dog.
That was one of your clients, like I said, one of my friends.
Love that man.
They're like one of the very few, around here that is trying, and
yeah,
I appreciate that what they do as well, because like you said, there's just not many people in a small town like this that one believe, but two try. So
yeah, that's the big part, bro. Hell yeah. Absolutely.
All right, guys. I think that cuts it. James, let them know where to find you real quick. Where we get you out on Instagram? Where can we find? He's got a couple pages. Let them know your Instagram, your podcast Instagram, your YouTube. Let them know. I'll also add the links to the bio. So
yeah. Instagram is JamesBrackin IV. And that's all platforms: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff. And then the YOUCANTOO Podcast is everywhere. That's on Instagram as well. TikTok. That's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Pod, anywhere you can find it, it's there.
Google, all the stuff. Yeah, it's cool. Once you get on Anchor, it'll throw it everywhere, bro.
Everywhere. Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, I only that this probably be the end, but I only put it on, I only like advertise YouTube,
me
Spotify
too.
and Apple. But like when you go to Anchor, it literally has like fucking 30 sites on there.
Google.
Like, oh, your podcast is here. Your podcast is here. It's like, shit, what is this?
Yeah, dude, I had no idea. I was talking to someone earlier today where someone they knew only had their podcast on Spotify, and I'm like, it's harder to get only on one than it is to get on everywhere. I don't know how that could even happen. Like,
yeah, for real. Because once like I said, if you use a hosting site, it's
Anchor or something,
in multiple places.
Literally, it's going everywhere.
But thanks again, guys, for listening. Thanks, James, for coming on. This was
brother.
A fucking amazing episode. Sorry, guys, I don't want it to be as long as they get, but it's hard to stop talking when you're talking about such amazing things.
You get into a flow, bro. That's why Joe Rogan's podcasts are 3 hours.
That's nuts.
This is why.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
A free falling like I'm skydiving. Teacher and student, two worlds colliding. I love music, I don't abuse it. Take your crafts and you infuse them. Say you're normal, that's kinda weird. In deep thought, stroking my beard. Head of the table, saying my cheers. Ended up grateful for all the tears. Ready to grind for